How's it going, guys? My name's Will, and welcome to episode 2 of the Anim Breakdown. Today we're going to be going over a shot from Pixar's Toy Story 4 and talk about how the artists use animation to tell a strong story and techniques to captivate the audience's emotions. Find out in 3, 2... Alrighty, so let's get started. Just to start out, I'm definitely wearing the same shirt, and I definitely didn't spill coffee down the front of the other one. So this episode is definitely not sponsored by Tim Hortons. So Toy Story for me is a very important franchise, just in terms of my childhood. So much nostalgia from watching them all. But this last one really impressed me in terms of the quality of animation and the quality of storytelling, which is something that Pixar really does well. They don't just think if a character is singing, how do they sing? They think, are they confident where they're singing? Are they worried people are going to listen? How long have they been singing? What's the emotion behind why they are performing? There's so many different layers, and that's what Pixar does so well. So I wanted to do a breakdown of Toy Story to really highlight those things for you guys. So there's a few shots I really liked from the film. One was when Woody's getting Forky from the waste bin in Bonnie's room. Beautiful mechanics and beautiful just the ragdolliness of it I really enjoyed. Another one is when Woody's running down the road at night in the nighttime scene with Forky and chases after him, and he does this sort of like marionette style run. It's like he's being puppeteered. It looks like he's an actual toy being kind of ran along with strings. And I absolutely love that mechanically. But something that really took my breath away when I watched the film was this last scene of Bo Peep. So to give you a general backstory, if you don't know, she's always been a sort of supporting character with the other toys, and you have your Buzz and your Woodies as your leads. And in this film, it starts out with a flashback to 8 years ago when she was given up for adoption as a toy, and Woody has this chance to go with her and live the new life with her. And they've always kind of meant to be together, but he says, no, I need to stay with the kid. She needs me, and let's Bo go. So fast forward 8 years, and they end up crossing each other's paths again. And there's a moment in the end of the film, which is pretty much a parallel to the start of that flashback, where Woody has the chance to go with Bo again. And at this stage, he's realized through the course of the movie and his character arc that is his kid's growing up, and they're going to be okay. And he needs to start thinking about him and start this new journey. And it's this beautiful scene where he kind of realizes he's going to stay, and he turns around and looks at Bo, and she realizes he's going to stay. And then they have this beautiful embrace, and it's just amazing. And, I physically felt my stomach drop, my heart wrench, and it really took my breath away when I saw it. And it's such a subtle, simple scene. So I really want to know and break it down how they managed to make me feel those emotions. So let's get right into it. So I'll just show you a full clip for context of the scenes before, but basically the start is where Woody realizes he's going to stay. So it's amazing. I love it. And I'll show you just in sort of context. This is the scene that we're going to go for. So Woody's turned around and he's looked up at Bo, and she's realized, oh my gosh, he's going to stay with me after 8 long years of we were always meant to be together, and we finally somehow crossed paths because of fate. And now he's taking his life in his own hands, and it's just beautiful. So if we watch through here, you can kind of see the emotion change on Bo's face. And it's very dramatic, but it's so simple. And so the way I'm going to break this down is more so to teach me about storytelling lessons, and how you can communicate those things through subtle movement. So it's less of snappy bouncing around things, it's more of tiny little subtleties. So we'll go through just in terms of what Bo feels in each different pose. So for her first pose, she's kind of got this blank stare, this stare of hope and love and promise and, all the things that could be them together. but she still hasn't really fully processed the fact that he's staying. So it's a fairly neutral general expression. And then we come forward and she's blinking. So that's a story device to kind of break her out of the trance that she's in and bring her back to the present and go, oh, Woody's staying. He wants to be here with me. And then we move forward a few frames and she opens her eyes and she's got the loving look. But if we watch when she opens her eyes, she'll dart down her eyes there. So for me, she comes back, she's out of the trance and she's thinking, oh my gosh, he wants to stay with me? And then she darts her eyes down. So she disconnects with Woody and that's kind of her thinking. So she's drawing back to the past and thinking, oh my gosh, but what about when that happened last time? What about all this time we spent together? What about the 8 years apart? What does that mean? And then she glances back up and she starts to let it sink in. She comes back into the present with her eyes. She reconnects with Woody's eyes and she really feels the full emotion of what's actually happening. And so after she's darted her eyes, she comes from this kind of, this slightly neutral expression to one of feeling the full power of the emotions. And then you can see as she goes along, her eyes start to widen. She really starts to, oh my gosh, this is happening. And if we just play through here, you can see how her chest begins to go up and down. So her heart's beating so fast that she can't even catch her breath. And it's very subtle, but it conveys that she's, having a freak out. This is huge. They're going to be together. It's finally going to happen. And that's how they really portray it. And it's just absolutely stunning. So one other little thing before I get into the shot and my attempt at the shot is the lighting. So if we look at this, and I'll just play it through, and if you just watch the lights on her face, and you can see how she's in a carnival setting, so there's lots of flashing lights and things going on. But whether or not this is on purpose or not, I'm fairly sure it is. They've gotten the lights to glow brighter and brighter as the shot goes on. So the lighting almost replicates her mood. So it's fairly kind of, flat. There's a bit of a highlight on that cheek, on that side. And then if we go from that to that final shot, you can see the difference in how bright her face is and it's lit up. So it's almost like she's, like the lights, she's lighting up, she's getting excited, she's feeling those emotions, and it's mirrored by the lighting. And that makes you feel that she's being lit up, literally, on top of emotionally. So that's just, when I saw that, unreal, absolutely unreal. And those are the kind of subtle things that Pixar does so well, and it's beautiful and fantastic. But anyway, let's jump into my attempt at the shot, and we'll see how we can go from there. So for me personally, I really struggled with this one. I think it's definitely not my forte, these subtle types of emotions, and it was a really big learning curve and learning experience for me. So I went down the same avenue of kind of replicating their poses, which I could do to an extent, but when it came to hitting spline and making all those curves smooth, it really started to become a bit of a challenge to make those emotions the same, because it didn't fully translate with just me replicating those poses. So I had a chat to a friend about this, and he gave me some good advice about, being able to convey what the character is feeling and explaining what they are feeling to someone, especially someone that doesn't understand or doesn't come from an animation background. And that's kind of the beauty of this shot, because people watch this film and they're not animators, and they still feel it, and they still feel that deep emotion when you see it, and you understand what she's gone through and the whole story arc of Bo, but you don't really think about, where do the eyes look? And that's the beauty of these types of shots. So it was definitely a challenge for me to be able to communicate that, but I really enjoyed the process along the way. So something that I learned on this shot is to spend more time with the subtle things. It's the little things that count in these types of acting shots. So, spend as much time on the eyebrows as I do the entire body. And that's something I think I've benefited from immensely already in my everyday workflow, because it really adds to the performance and the polishing levels of the performance. So things like the eye darts communicating, you know, she's looking, she's with Woody, and then she looks and she darts down and she's looking to the past and she's, oh my gosh, what's happening, and then comes back in and, you know, really feels that full emotion when she connects back in with him with eye contact. And that's super, super important and very powerful, but it's so small. And a technical thing that I really found myself learning was the order of things moving with your eyes. So coming from a blink or looking up in a dart, you'll look and your eyeballs, you know, the irises will move up, and then the lids will also follow, and then the brows will also follow after. And there's this hierarchy to the way things move. And it was a pleasure to do this shot, and I learned a lot about it in terms of that. Alrighty. So that's it for this episode of the Anim Breakdown. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too. I learned a huge amount on this one. It was very, you know, it was difficult. It was a challenge for a person with my skill set to be able to do such subtle acting animation. And, you know, that's somewhere where I want to grow and get better over time. So I really enjoyed this whole process. But, you know, there's a reason why it was done by a Pixar animator and not me, because the fact that they're able to make me feel things and connect with the character when it's just moving things on a screen is absolutely beautiful, and that's why I'm in animation. That's why I'm in the industry, to create life through movement, and it's just fantastic to be a part of it in some way, shape or form, and also to kind of break these shots down for you guys so you can get a bit of understanding for where I'm coming from and the things I do in my day-to-day. But with that being said, I appreciate you guys coming in again this time around, and I will see you in next time. And I said it, and I said it wrong, but I've already done 4 takes of this, so we're taking it. See you next time, guys.